guys, Homeboy 601, and today we're out in the Leander. And, well, basically, I was catching up with my weekly Havocs, doing last week's weekly missions since I was out of internet for so long, so I'm playing catch up. But one of last week's tasks was to get 15 citadels, and whenever I have one of those sorts of missions, well, Leander is my choice. There's a multitude of reasons for that. I've had a video up about it, so if you want to go check that out, I'll put a link down in the description box below. But long story short, basically tier 5, you are able to punch through a lot of the light cruisers of tier 4, tier 5, and tier 6. You have really good AP. Leander is just my favorite ship. And, whenever you see those Citadel tasks, maybe consider going cruiser. I know the quick reaction is, hey, I want to use a battleship for Citadels, but just because of the rate of fire of cruisers, you'll get a high number of Citadels, usually a lot quicker. Anyways, that's why we are out in Leander, and I figured we'd show this game because, spoiler alert, it gets both close and we get a good chunk of kills. We'll just say that. Anyways, the two enemy cruisers are rushing into the cap. This is sort of what we wanted down here at tier 5, is the ability to sit off and start peppering these guys in an attempt to get a couple of citadels, as both Furutaka and the Rattlehead are pushing in. Leander, as far as our build goes, we are using Azurlane Neptune. She kind of buffs the AP characteristics, especially for if you take damage, you're going to do more damage with your AP, as well as her unique skill. It's going to buff your damage against destroyers and cruisers while limiting your damage against battleships. And you'll see that is going to come into effect later, and we'll talk through why I think Azurlane Neptune is just a great pick for Leander once we start getting affected by those negative characteristics. Anyways, Rattlehead and Furutaka, I think at this point, have realized they've pushed in a little bit too much. We are just happily chunking them while sitting in our smoke screen as a battleship passes behind us, which means 9 times out of 10 he is probably spotted because of his smoke firing penalty. So we need to be worried, but we pick up another Citadel and our first kill, as well as the first blood for the match, and a broadside for Utaka. Well, that's not going to last much longer. There he goes. 2 more Citadels, and that is that as far as this flank goes. It appears the enemy battleship that spawned on this side of the map has decided, you know what, not worth it supporting my teammates. I see a large grouping of my friends. I'm going to go over there, and you know what? We will take it, because it was a Koenig, and Koenigs are a bit difficult for Leanders to deal with, and that is the downside to the AP that we do have is we're not exactly able to punch through anything. We have to kind of look for broadsides, and even when we look for broadsides for battleships, we need to find certain ships, like the Americans, with their lighter armor and large superstructures that are relatively easy to pen. So while we try to get in range of the rest of their team, we're also going to push into A. The reason for that, of course, is, well, right now the capture points are tied. We want to swing the game in our favor, at least in a points method, as we have lost one more, or we have lost our first ship. So overall, the game is very close, and given just how concentrated the enemy is at this point, it is likely that they are going to kind of cascade down as certain ships come into their view, come into their line of fire, and we can expect us to sort of even out on ships, just because a bunch of our ships basically aren't able to shoot them at this moment, since we are concentrated over on this A side. They are concentrated over on the B side, and basically we need to get our damage going, or else we could potentially lose this, because if they push all the way down, they could have 2 capture points. That's going to give them the points advantage. So there are things we need to do mentally that we are just kind of keeping a picture on. And what I'm doing right now is sort of surveying the map and seeing who needs help where. and what way everyone is starting to push. And you can see our teammates are kind of continuing to what I'm going to call the north of the map. And to me, that tells me, hey, we are going to actually need to fall back. We're going to need to retreat because these guys seem to just want to push forward. We need to be able to establish crossfires. If we continue to travel in this giant mass, it's not going to be great. Additionally, that Chungmu is fairly low on health. There's a Pensacola out there. That's another decent meal for us as a Leander. So we are going to push down to the Leander. Also, there's a New Mexico there. New Mexico, light armor, and their destroyer is also spotted down there. So basically, every unit that we would be effective against is on the bottom of the map at this moment. And we would just be pushing further away from them if we chose to go to the north. So we're going to push down to the south now. At this point, we probably should stop firing, but you know, we're in tier 5. We're not really worried as we use broadside technology there. Thankfully, you know, long range shots of the Koenig aren't usually the strength of it, but we do need to kind of keep our eye out. And you can see we went ahead and stopped firing because we were slightly in danger. We want to get around this island. Once we do that, we can hopefully set up a crossfire on this Pensacola and deal with him relatively quickly, and then hopefully be able to deal with any other of the battleships that push around. Because if you look up at the scoreboard now, we are officially behind on ships and also behind on the points. So we are going to have to start making some things happen here. And well, Pensacola, nice and broadside. We are sort of hidden, but we're going to take a minute to slow down. That is, of course, one of the traits of the British light cruisers is they accelerate really well. Deceleration, not their strong suit. So as we pop out from behind this island here, we'll go ahead, pop our second smoke screen, and from here we will hopefully be able to deal with both the Leander and that fairly low health New Mexico. Or not the Leander, deal with the Pensacola and that New Mexico over there. And while we farm these guys, I guess I should talk about why Leander is my favorite ship. I know people will often come into my streams and be like, "Oh, Tommy, what's your favorite ship?" And I'll always tell them it's Leander. My main thing with Leander is I think it's one of the best middle ground ships to learn the game with. It does a fantastic job of teaching a lot of the more advanced mechanics, and it was the ship that like I kind of the game clicked for me once I got to it. So it has a special place in my heart, and by that I mean it has fairly good concealment, so you can play it like a really big destroyer and be somewhat successful of being able to rush into a cap, deploy smoke, get a cap early in the game. But you also, because you're limited to this AP, you kind of have to learn target selection. You have to learn where you can start penning things. You have to understand angles and things like that. So I think Leander in the British Light Cruiser line is an excellent step, or it's an excellent ship and line for learning the harder mechanics of this game. And I know there are new players all the time, and I think, like I said, I think Leander is one of those like just great ships. And now we can see New Mexico nice and broadside to us with his fairly light superstructure armor, and you can see we are just chunking for some decent damage up there, nearly 3k on that salvo. And I know Neptune is supposed to be not great against battleships. So you can see we're still doing respectable damage up against them right here. And I think it really comes down to target selection. And you're going to see us start to now sort of peter off as the game has become all tied up as far as ships go, but we are definitely in a deficit as far as points go. You're going to start to see us struggle to do damage now because once California is gone, the other two battleships in this game are a little bit more heavily armored, and it's not that Neptune's DPM is letting us down, right? It's not that our reduced damage to the battleships is letting us down. It's the fact that we just can't pen them. And that is the struggle of Leander, where you kind of need to know where you're needed and what you can do. And if you look on the map now, we are in a bit of a predicament. Our team, we are now, beyond that destroyer, kind of one of the most forward ships, which is a bit of a weird position for us. Yes, we are kind of concealed, but given how lightly armored we are, we wouldn't want to be this close to any of the battleships, as we are kind of just slowly taking chunk damage, losing the rest of our health, as California takes out the Omaha there. And it is, I'm going to be honest, not looking good for us at this moment, as Koenig delivers another big salvo, as we are only able to kind of take little bits off of him here and there. And we're just at this point kind of waiting for our smoke to come back online. Once that occurs, then we should be able to kind of help with the DPM, but also kind of assist in disengaging. But at this point, I'm more concerned with getting Koenig reset each time. But if on the map, I would notice a certain destroyer has gone ahead and popped up, and you can see now I finally see him, because I was not checking the mini map like I should have been. Vostros decides that, that Leander's nice and low on health. I can try to engage him. Good luck to him. He does bring us down to 447 health, but we do end up finishing him off, and that gives us the Kraken for the game, as we are able to kind of reset our time, or reset in the smoke. We'll have enough time to pull off our final heal, which will kind of set us up for the rest of the game. Of course, we aren't in the best position right now. You can see they are still up on points, and they're about to cap. Thankfully, Koenig kind of pops out behind the island here, and that's going to give us an opportunity to reset. The resets do help us a lot, and we can see Andre Doria. I'm kind of looking around like, okay, what is the plan? Can we defeat this Koenig? Does this battleship have enough health to stand up to Koenig in a 1v1 fight? And we can kind of start chunking him. As long as this battleship kind of keeps him spotted, we'll have time. Our Japrod takes out the Andre Dora, which is the real concern of all of this, because we were down on points and we're down in the last minute. So we were going to need to kill the lot of them. Thankfully, he was able to take out Andre Doria there. He had the most health of any of the ships remaining. Unfortunately, our battleship friend retreated into our smoke for reasons. I mean, it's tier 5. What can you expect? So that's going to force us to push down and try and finish off this Koenig and try to prevent him from getting the cap, because what we don't want to happen is for him to get this cap and then him just turn around and sail off, because he could do that. That is something he could do. Our battleship would not be able to keep up if he sinks us with relatively low health. That's sort of game. So we need to get him reset here. Thankfully, we do. We take surprisingly little damage from him on this, and we're going to try and go for the 6-pack here. But, well, as with most games, I think we're going to end up being denied, as he has, 1 health? 2 health? I don't know. But he goes down. We pick up the Dreadnought. And, guys, that is a fun little match in the Leander for the Kraken. It's a Kraken game. Had to show it off. Anyways, that's 3,000 XP. Guys, if you like videos like this, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.